Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to your middle of the day market update. We'll talk about everything you need to know regarding the crypto markets today, going into the end of the week, going into the weekend. We will talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about fundamentals, news that you need to know about. We'll talk about some ETF inflows and we'll talk about Zcash. I think there's some interesting opportunities with Zcash that I wanted to talk about and tell you about. So that's what we'll do in this video. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But I will not promise anything. So let's get right into it. The thumbnail is probably something like bullish move coming, which some of you might already say, we're crashing. How can you say we're going to get a bullish move? For those of you who have watched my previous videos, you know that I expect us to pull back first. That is what is going on right now. I just think that afterwards we can expect a move up higher. Okay, so obviously the market is never only bullish or only bearish. There's always up and down price action, and it's about the general direction. And I'm fairly positive about the general direction, but I'll tell you why in a moment. For now, let's get right into it. We had some news today. We had initial jobless claims. Those were a little bit lower than expected, which is slightly bearish. But if you place it in the general context of the US economy, it doesn't matter. The probability that we are going to get an interest rate cut next week at this point of time is sitting at 87%. That is a little bit lower than where it was yesterday, as you can see. But ultimately, is that bearish? Yes, slightly. Is that going to significantly impact the market direction? No, it's not. However, tomorrow we have some major news, which I will be live streaming as well. It's the PCE price index data, which is basically inflation rate data. That matters more. That's quite critical, which is also why I will be live streaming that. So make sure to tune into that. But that's what you need to know regarding the economic data coming out right now. We had no repo operations for the past 2 days, which is good. The SOFR spread has also dropped down a bit. It's still elevated, and it's definitely not all over the liquidity problems that are apparent right now in the United States. But still good news to actually not see those repo operations. You would much rather have no liquidity stress, of course, than to have liquidity stress. And then last but not least, to do a brief overview of the current situation for equities, which obviously matters a lot as well for crypto. You can see that we opened a little bit higher. We are pulling back right now. Volatility in the index is also moving up higher slightly. Makes me think that maybe I missed some data, but it looks more likely to me that this is just a recalculation of the of what to expect from the Federal Reserve interest rate decision. It's also not a major move, right? I mean, ultimately, equities are still fine. Now, moving on to Bitcoin and to crypto specifically, which obviously you care a little bit more about, but you need to know things like this as well, okay? You just need to. Generally, the fundamentals for Bitcoin are still fine. The order book depth has gotten a little bit more bearish, but it's fine. You can also see that the call put skew, which has to do with options, is getting a little bit more towards the neutral side, where first it was a bit of a call side skew. And you can also see that we are getting some short orders into Bitcoin. Now, all of this was predicted, right? I mean, if you watch my previous videos on Bitcoin, I always said, I think it's most likely we're going to pull back first, and then from that pullback into the strong support between 90,000 and 88,000, I think we can find support, and I think we can rally up higher. Under the current circumstances, so that has to do both with the technical situation for Bitcoin, but also the fundamentals around the markets, I would say it is still most likely that we'll do something like this. So if we zoom out on Bitcoin, that means, here you can also see, I mean, we found strong resistance at the 30-day rolling VWAP. We were not able to break above that. We have those imbalances to the downside. It was always most likely that we're going to pull back first. So that is still what I expect. The golden area is between 90,000 and 88,000. So that is very much the area to watch. What I would say is most likely. Look, the thing is that the fact that we have quite a lot of shorts opening right here, that opens up the risk, that opens up the possibility that these are insider shorts and that we're going to get some bad news. If we get very bad news today, then my thoughts might change, okay? If we get bad news, we could fall all the way back down into 86,000, and then it's going to take some time before we can get a move up higher, that bullish move. Then it's more likely that we'll get into some sort of correlation down here. But like I said, that is only most likely if we get bad news. Under the current circumstances, what I would expect on Bitcoin is that those shorts, those early shorts will be rewarded, that we'll get a move down into 90,000, 89, 88,000, that they'll start to close out there, that the fundamentals remain relatively good, and that from there we can move up, stabilize, move into 95, 96,000, move into 98, 99,000 later. That might take some time, right? That might be in the end of December that we're talking about 99 and 100,000. But ultimately, at the current moment, that is still what I expect. Like I said, bad news, situation changes, and short term, that actually means we can push down lower quite a bit. So be prepared for that. But those are my thoughts on Bitcoin. Quickly, some thoughts on the ETF inflows, outflows. We actually saw some strong ETF inflows for Ethereum. We saw weak flows for Bitcoin. We saw weak flows for Solana. I'm not too happy with Solana at this point of time, and neither should you, I think. And we had some amazing inflows again from XRP. You cannot see that right here, but we actually had inflows in the last 2 days as well, which has made certain that XRP is still relatively strong. But as you can see from my analysis this morning, XRP is very much following Bitcoin in the sense that we also had those imbalances to the downside. It's a little bit more likely short term that we'll fill those imbalances, find support, and then get some more bullish momentum into the upside. So, last but not least, I mean, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about altcoins, but most altcoins at the moment are very correlated to Bitcoin. So I think I'm going to make an altcoin specific, so the altcoin market specific video tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. And I thought it was a little bit more interesting to talk about one altcoin that I think has quite a lot of potential, and that is Zcash, which I've also made a video on this morning. But what you can see with Zcash is that for the first time in 2.5 weeks, and after we have fallen a total from top to bottom 56%, for the first time we're actually seeing some bidding coming in at this level between 300 and 275 ultimately, or 268 even. I think there's some opportunities. I think we left a lot of imbalances to the downside with that fall. I think we can fill some of those imbalances, but on the lower time frames, what I would wait for is some sort of a liquidation spike to the downside, right? So you can see right now we're forming some stability. If we do something like this, I should use those arrows. If we do something like this, that's an interesting opportunity, especially if we confirm with a reclaim afterwards. So I think this is one of the easiest, or one of the lowest risk altcoin opportunities, and that's why I wanted to share it with all of you. There's a couple of other altcoins that look interesting, but like I said, that I will try to cover in my video tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Those are my thoughts. Bitcoin is actually bouncing relatively well already, which is a good sign as well. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will keep you updated if anything major happens. Make sure to follow me on X as well, as that's the first place where I usually post things, news, updates, urgent updates when they come in. So hopefully I'll see you or follow there later today. But for now, that's it. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. Have a great day, and bye.